Mr. Dario just announced their scariest, strongest, and most powerful model yet. You know, I gotta give it to Anthropic and their model naming abilities though. I very much prefer the Sonnet, Opus, and now the newly added Mythos names compared to the 01, 03, and 5.4 lineup. You know, who knew the team at Anthropic had it in them to come up with a name with so much aura? In my mind, Mythos sounds like a Greek god who can just one-tap Zeus. Kinda terrifying.
Nice.
Now, Anthropic assembled all of the Avengers to work on hardening the world's cybersecurity under something called Project Glasswing. But why are we all freaking out about cybersecurity when we have this new model? Aren't we more interested in all the software slop that we can explore? King Dario decided that Mythos was too thick and girthy to be provided to us peasants. It was initially trained as a model that would be good at coding so that we can align more with Dario's prediction of wiping out all white-collar workers by last year, basically.
I don't know. We might be 6 to 12 months away from when the model is doing most, maybe all of what SWEs do end to end.
You know, and they certainly achieved their goal of developing a good coding model, as they have been doing for the past few years. They absolutely cleared the benchmarks for agentic coding, reasoning, and agentic search and computer usage. There is also a benchmark called CyberGym to evaluate AI agents on real-world vulnerability analysis tasks. And as you can expect, Mythos crushed this test as well. Okay, nice. We've looked at all the graphs, we've looked at all the benchmarks, and we certainly aren't disputing King Dario that they've achieved state-of-the-art across all 47 metrics. But what we, and also not to mention Anthropic, are surprised by is developing a model that mere mortals like us could not wield because of its ability to be so good at cybersecurity.
Just generally better at pursuing really long-range tasks that are kind of like the tasks that a human security researcher would do throughout the course of an entire day.
And not only that, because, you know, we don't care about that. We already know software engineers are being automated, but Mythos discovered many vulnerabilities in the software that shapes how the world works today. You know, for one, it found a 27-year-old bug in OpenBSD. It found a 16-year-old bug in FFmpeg. And for those of you who don't know, that's a project used for basically all the Subway Surfers content that you guys doom scroll on TikTok. And in addition to those two, multiple vulnerabilities in the Linux kernel were discovered. And for those of you who don't know that, Linux is the software that runs most of the world's servers today. So before this model goes out into the wild and into the hands of people like myself, it is important that the Avengers can protect all of us first. Anthropic has many collaborators, including NVIDIA and Google and even CrowdStrike. And that's important so they don't have another intern take down half the world when deploying fresh code to production on Friday. Evidently, all of these vulnerabilities I discussed are actually quite serious. They run the world. The implications for Mythos can be quite frightening to some. You know, financial systems, healthcare, power grids and utilities, telecoms, the government, the military, Kim Jong-un's codes for their nuclear systems. Not only do I have to worry about the $300 in my bank account being exposed, but now what if the Greek god LLM accidentally triggers World War III? You know, what I'm really curious about is what happens after Project Glasswing. You know, let's say Dario and all the Avengers, they do their job, patch up the most critical vulnerabilities, get some solid defenses in there. What's next? Then what? Anthropic releases Mythos to the public and we're all good? Because the blog literally says they found thousands of bugs and less than 1% have been patched so far. Even if they patch everything Mythos found today, the model doesn't just forget how to find new ones tomorrow. Does that mean some people will have more powerful models? People like me will have weaker, crappier models? I don't know. I guess only time will tell what happens to the world if and when Mythos is released. Will the world burn to the ground, or will we all transcend as a society?